Do you know the answer? Today's quiz will test your knowledge of history, science, literature, mythology, and some truly surprising facts. Some questions will be easy, others might make you stop and think. From the Statue of Liberty and Roman emperors to Star Wars and ancient mythology, anything can appear in this challenge. Keep track of your score, and make sure to stay until the end, because there's a bonus question waiting for you. Ready to test your knowledge? Let's begin. Question 1. In which novel does Uriah Heep appear? Oliver Twist, Great Expectations, David Copperfield, or A Christmas Carol? The correct answer is David Copperfield. Charles Dickens created Uriah Heep as one of the most chilling villains in Victorian literature. He constantly calls himself very humble, while secretly manipulating everyone around him. But here's the fascinating part. Many literary historians believe Dickens based Uriah Heep on a real person he knew as a child, a cruel and hypocritical schoolmaster who treated students terribly while pretending to be morally superior. That real-life inspiration helped Dickens create a character so convincing that the name Uriah Heep later became a synonym in English for a fake, overly humble hypocrite. Question 2. Which Roman emperor converted to Christianity? Nero, Constantine the Great, Diocletian, or Augustus? The correct answer is Constantine the Great. According to ancient sources, before a decisive battle in the year 312, Constantine saw a mysterious symbol of the cross in the sky, together with the words, "In this sign you will conquer." After winning the battle, he issued the Edict of Milan, which made Christianity legal across the Roman Empire. And here's an amazing historical twist. Just a few centuries later, Christianity went from a once persecuted religion to becoming the dominant faith of Europe, largely because of Constantine's decision. Question 3. What was the original color of the Statue of Liberty? Emerald green, shiny gold, copper brown, or dull gray? The correct answer is copper brown. When the Statue of Liberty arrived in New York in 1886, it was the color of a brand new penny because it is made from more than 300 sheets of copper. Over the next 20 years, the copper reacted with air and seawater, forming a natural layer called patina, which slowly turned the statue green. Interestingly, engineers once considered cleaning the statue back to brown, but scientists discovered that the green patina actually protects the metal underneath from corrosion. So the famous color was left exactly as it is today. Question 4. Which of these is a woodwind instrument? Saxophone, trumpet, tuba, or French horn? The correct answer is saxophone. Even though it's made of brass, the saxophone is classified as a woodwind instrument because it produces sound using a single wooden reed, just like a clarinet. The instrument was invented in 1846 by the Belgian musician Adolphe Sax, who wanted to create a powerful instrument that could bridge the gap between brass and woodwinds in orchestras. Ironically, although it was designed for classical orchestras, the saxophone became famous much later as the iconic sound of jazz music. Question 5. The most terrible anger is the anger of helplessness. Who wrote this? Fyodor Dostoevsky, Leo Tolstoy, Ernest Hemingway, or Mikhail Bulgakov? The correct answer is Mikhail Bulgakov. The quote appears in his famous novel, The Master and Margarita, one of the most unusual and imaginative works of 20th century literature. But the story of the book itself is almost as dramatic as the novel. Bulgakov actually burned the manuscript during a period of heavy censorship in the Soviet Union. Later, he began rewriting it from memory. That moment inspired one of the most famous lines in the novel: "Manuscripts don't burn." Today, The Master and Margarita is considered one of the greatest novels ever written. Question 6. What is the current capital of Japan? Kyoto, Osaka, Sapporo, or Tokyo? The correct answer is Tokyo. Tokyo became the capital of Japan in 1868, when the emperor moved his residence from Kyoto to the city then known as Edo. The name Tokyo actually means Eastern Capital. And here's something fascinating. Today, the Tokyo metropolitan area is the largest city in the world, with more than 37 million people living in the greater urban region, larger than the population of many entire countries. Question 7. Which country has a lion on its flag? Sri Lanka, Nepal, Thailand, or India? The correct answer is Sri Lanka. The golden lion holding a sword is one of the oldest national symbols in the world. It represents the Sinhalese people, whose name comes from the Sanskrit word for lion. According to an ancient legend, the Sinhalese trace their origins back to a prince named Vijaya, who was said to be the descendant of a lion. And here's an interesting detail. The 4 small leaves in the corners of the flag are bow leaves, taken from the sacred Bodhi tree under which Buddha is believed to have reached enlightenment. Question 8. Which number is written as XLII in Roman numerals? 32, 42, 52, or 62? The correct answer is 42. In Roman numerals, XL means 10 before 50, which equals 40, and the 2 I's add 2 more, making 42. And here's a fun cultural reference. In the famous science fiction book The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, the number 42 is revealed to be the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. No one knows what the question actually is, but the number became one of the most famous jokes in science fiction. Question 9. What was Napoleon's famous horse called? Morton, Marengo, Bucephalus, or Zeus? The correct answer is Marengo. Napoleon named the horse after the Battle of Marengo in 1800, one of his most important victories. Marengo was actually a small Arabian stallion, only about 145 centimeters tall, but incredibly strong and fast. He carried Napoleon through many major battles, including Austerlitz, Jena, and Waterloo. And here's something amazing. After the Battle of Waterloo, Marengo was captured by the British. His skeleton is still preserved today and displayed at the National Army Museum in London. Question 10. Who wrote Pygmalion? John Webster, Oscar Wilde, George Bernard Shaw, or Ben Jonson? The correct answer is George Bernard Shaw. The play tells the story of a flower girl, Eliza Doolittle, who is taught to speak like a lady by a linguistics professor. The story later became the world-famous musical My Fair Lady. And here's something remarkable. George Bernard Shaw is one of the very few people in history to win both a Nobel Prize in Literature and an Academy Award for a film adaptation of his work. Question 11. How many bones does a jellyfish have? 0, 4, 14, or 44? The correct answer is 0. Jellyfish have no bones, no brain, and no heart. Their bodies are made of about 95% water, yet these simple creatures are incredibly ancient. Jellyfish have existed on Earth for more than 500 million years, meaning they were already swimming in the oceans long before the first dinosaurs appeared. Some species are even biologically unusual. One tiny jellyfish is sometimes called the immortal jellyfish because it can revert its cells back to an earlier stage of life, essentially starting its life cycle again. Question 12. What was the Great Wall of China built for? To block sandstorms, to mark a highway, to build a giant tomb, or to stop invasions? The correct answer is to stop invasions. The Great Wall was built to protect China from raids by northern nomadic tribes, especially groups like the Mongols. But here's something surprising. The Great Wall is not a single wall. It is actually a massive network of walls, watchtowers, and fortifications built over many centuries. If you include all of its branches, the total length of the Great Wall system is more than 21,000 kilometers, making it one of the largest construction projects in human history. Question 13. The law of inertia is Newton's first law, Hooke's law, Ohm's law, or Boyle's law? The correct answer is Newton's first law. It states that an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion continues moving at the same speed and direction, unless a force acts on it. That's why when a car suddenly stops, your body keeps moving forward. Your motion is trying to continue. Interestingly, Isaac Newton didn't completely invent the idea himself. The concept of inertia was first described by Galileo Galilei, and Newton later turned it into one of the fundamental laws of physics that still shape our understanding of motion today. Question 14. Who was the Greek god of war? Apollo, Hercules, Ares, or Zeus? The correct answer is Ares. Ares represented the brutal and chaotic side of war, violence, bloodshed, and raw battle fury. Interestingly, unlike many other Greek gods, Ares was not very popular with the Greeks themselves. Even Zeus, his own father, is said in myths to have disliked him. In contrast, the Romans admired this warlike power and identified Ares with their own god Mars, who became one of the most important gods in Roman religion. Question 15. What is the text of an opera called? Overture, coda, libretto, or score? The correct answer is libretto. The word comes from Italian and literally means little book. It contains all the words sung by the performers and the dialogue that drives the story. Many famous composers worked closely with librettists. For example, the great composer Mozart created some of his most famous operas with the same librettist, Lorenzo da Ponte. Together, they produced masterpieces like The Marriage of Figaro and Don Giovanni, which are still performed in opera houses around the world today. Question 16. In Star Wars, Luke and Leia are husband and wife, brother and sister, father and daughter, or no relation? The correct answer is brother and sister. This revelation appears in Return of the Jedi and became one of the most famous twists in movie history. Interestingly, when the first Star Wars film was released in 1977, George Lucas had not yet fully planned this connection. The idea that Luke and Leia were siblings was developed later while writing the sequels. Despite that change, the twist helped turn the original trilogy into one of the most iconic stories in cinema. Question 17. What did the word pedant originally mean? Teacher, soldier, whiner, or bore? The correct answer is teacher. The word comes from the Italian pedanti, which originally referred to a school teacher or tutor. Over time, the meaning slowly changed. People began using it to describe someone who was overly concerned with rules, details, and technicalities, especially when correcting others. Today, calling someone a pedant usually means they focus so much on small details that they become annoying, even if they are technically correct. Question 18. Which god carries a trident? Hercules, Hades, Dionysus, or Poseidon? The correct answer is Poseidon. In Greek mythology, Poseidon was the powerful god of the sea, earthquakes, and storms. His three-pronged spear, the trident, was said to control the oceans. With a strike of it, he could create storms, raise waves, or even cause earthquakes. The symbol became so famous that today the trident is still widely associated with the power of the sea and appears in many emblems, logos, and mythological artworks. Question 19. Which vitamin cannot be stored by your body? Vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, or vitamin E? The correct answer is vitamin C. Unlike vitamins A, D, and E, which are stored in body fat, vitamin C is water-soluble, so your body uses what it needs and removes the rest. That's why humans need to get vitamin C regularly from food, such as citrus fruits, berries, and vegetables. Interestingly, most animals can produce their own vitamin C inside their bodies. Humans, however, lost this ability millions of years ago due to a genetic mutation, which is why we must get it from our diet. Question 20. Which artist painted in Tahiti? Pablo Picasso, Paul Gauguin, Johannes Vermeer, or Edvard Munch? The correct answer is Paul Gauguin. In the 1890s, Gauguin left Europe and moved to the island of Tahiti, searching for a simpler life and new artistic inspiration. There, he created some of his most famous paintings, filled with bright colors, tropical landscapes, and scenes of island life. Interestingly, many of Gauguin's works that are now worth tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars were barely appreciated during his lifetime. True fame came to him only after his death, when he became one of the most influential artists of the post-impressionist movement. And now, the bonus question. Finish the famous phrase. Knowledge is a way, a key, power, or wisdom. How many did you get right today? Write your score and your answer to the bonus question in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next quiz. Stay curious and have a great day. See you in the next quiz!